Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called the us, but the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Turn it over to another agency.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie. I told my family. I had to keep lying.
What's your, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for another ATS News live stream. Of course, we are digging into the Chris Watts case. We do a weekly dive one night a week. And tonight we are going to be discussing some statements made by a very close friend and fellow Thrive, I don't know, MLMer, I guess you would call them, friend of Shanann's. Her name was Addie Malone. They met through Thrive, I believe, because she is from Maryland. So we're going to listen to her statements. We're going to read some statements and then discoveries surrounding Shanann's pretty much last meal. They ate at a restaurant after their flight was delayed. They were having a lot of windstorms in Arizona when she was away on that trip, and she was supposed to be home sooner and had to tell Chris that the flight was delayed because of the storms and that they were killing time at the restaurant. So we know her last meal consists of, by the time her autopsy is done, her stomach is empty. I guess it doesn't take too long for your food to process through your stomach. So I spent the day kind of researching, like, why would her stomach be empty, but she ate before the flight. I guess it only takes like up to 2 hours for your stomach to empty out. So not really anything mysterious as far as her stomach being empty at the autopsy, but we really don't have a clear time of death for any victims. We have a narrative that the district attorney has given us that this happened Monday morning, early in the morning, and then the girls, the theory has changed actually. So first they all died in the house, and then after the prison interview and after people discovered shadows, the theory came out that the children died at Serby. So we'll get into all of our discussions tonight, and then we'll look at the evidence locker as well. So, because we never finished looking through that. So we're going to play her interview and listen to what she has to say. I also want to talk about confirmation bias. So let's start there. So give me a second to share my screen. And if you guys haven't hit the like button, if you could do so right now, it'd be greatly appreciated. And thank you so much, Jay. I see your little banner here. Member for 4 months. And he's saying hello to everybody in chat, and hello. And I see Unravel. It's good to see you. I love discussing the case with you. Hi, Marshall Dove. And it's good to see all my moderators and everyone here right now. So let's get into this. Some of this stuff you might have heard before. Some people say they are catching up on things that they've never heard when we go through these deep dives. So I hope something stands out that you haven't heard. And yes, being Bio Girl, I'm definitely going to go live tomorrow night on Sebastian Rogers' case. I've been watching the coverage nonstop as well, and it's definitely a rabbit hole, and it's very confusing. So it's taken me a minute to kind of get my footing in that case, but he is still missing, and, you know, he needs to be found. So let's get into what confirmation bias is. So it's a psychological term for human tendency to only seek out information that supports one position or idea. This causes you to have a bias towards your original position, because if you only seek out information that supports one idea, you will only find information that supports that idea. So I am presenting a video that I had done 2 years ago, which I believe demonstrates that there could have been confirmation bias in this case. Of course, they got the right guy behind the bars. Of course, we are happy that Chris is locked away for forever. And that was the right thing to do. But I think that there's a lot of loose ends in this case, and there's a lot of avenues that should have been explored. And even CBI agent Tammy here on the right has come out and stated that like we weren't done with the investigation. We still had interviews to do. We still had evidence to process. But when Chris Watts signed that plea deal, it halted everything and it stopped everything. So unfortunately, in the early days, I think that they solely were after Chris only, when I believe that there were other people involved. So that's my belief. I know a lot of you guys feel the same way. I see the comments. People have gone as far as to say that, you know, NK killed the kids or NK killed Shanann. I don't know like where everyone's role went, but I just feel in my gut that there's more to this. So keep that definition of confirmation bias in mind while we watch this video that I did, and I hope you guys like it.
I don't even know if I should say this, but Chris, while he was talking to Special Agent Coder, made a lot of movements towards his neck area. Made a lot of movements towards his neck area. Special Agent Coder actually came out of the room and he said he may have strangled her. Made a lot of movements towards his neck area.
Work too, so he doesn't always book me if I'm busy. So I don't know. That's up to employees. That's a big company with a lot of HR. And do you have an employee assistance program? I don't. Oh yeah, that's so they were there all day today. But it's like I got so many calls today. Those are questions that you can ask them. And so I don't know. I feel like I should have like processed all this. Yes. Okay.
So just for context,
because I just was at the point where I was like, if it's way.
Chris's interview was on August 14th when allegedly Coder drew this conclusion. NK's interview on camera was 2 days later after they got the false confession from Chris that he had killed Shanann because she killed the kids, which is in the arrest affidavit. Also, the public is not aware of the cause and manner of death at the time of NK's video here. It's interesting that agents draw conclusions based on Chris's body language, but why weren't the same conclusions drawn for NK's despite her exhibiting the same exact behavior?
It's Shanann.
All right. So I hope that that video kind of gets across the point I'm trying to make, something that I really think needs to be looked at in a way of like a raised eyebrow. Again, I'm happy that Chris was locked away. I just really think there were avenues that should have been explored right away. And no, Melanie, you didn't miss really anything. Just the last like 2 minutes, I think were important. That's pretty much it. So I don't know if you want to rewind, but I think that that video hopefully demonstrates my concern with them. Hi, Valerie. Them just going after Chris solely because he was making a lot of movements towards his neck in his interview with Coder. So hello, Johnny. And we've got some tea for everybody. So please enjoy and relax. So again, I'm curious your guys' thoughts. Jay seems to agree that, you know, that seemed like there was confirmation bias here. You know, Chris made a lot of movements towards his neck. So Coder comes out of the interview room and says he might have strangled her, which, you know, she was strangled to death. So, but we don't know. I mean, I know this is going to annoy some people, but we don't have any DNA linking Chris to this. Not saying he's not linked to it. I'm just saying everything halted in the investigation that, you know, where does everyone's role come in? And I just feel like why, like I said in that video, why weren't the same conclusions made towards NK as it was towards Chris Watts? So those clips are from her interview that I clipped in there. She touches her neck more than what I've been able to show in that video too. So again, you can go through her entire interview, maybe even the other interview that we have on video. I haven't even explored that, but does she touch her neck a lot in that interview? That would be interesting to see. And thanks for becoming a member, Melanie. I really appreciate that. And you, and hello, Dustin. Truth, had there been a trial, maybe a different outcome, right? And that's what's so frustrating with this case. Every week that I go live, I think, why do people want to talk about this? But people keep saying, thank you for doing these deep dives and thank you for discussing this. It's just a lot of questions still for a lot of people. Tony, I think, understands as well. So hello, Brooks. It's good to see you and everyone else who's joined. All right. So the other thing I wanted to do is kind of give us another little basis for the discussion we're having tonight. So that will require me pulling up a page of the discovery. Now, like I said, her flight was delayed. So that kind of hampered the plan, I think, in my opinion. Like the people involved didn't expect her flight to be delayed. Maybe they didn't even believe Chris when he said that her flight was delayed. That's always been a theory as well. But she spent time with her friends while they waited for their new flight at a restaurant. And this is the last picture of Bella in life, it says. Around 7:54 p.m., Shanann told Watts the power went out during the dinner with Cindy and Addie before the airport. She sent a photograph of the darkened restaurant. We've never seen that photograph. I'd love to see some of the things we've never seen. She commented on the photographs he just sent. Great job on Bella's hair. Watts replied, that sucks. Yeah, she cooperated. Shanann explained, really bad dust storm, rain, thunder, and lightning. Shanann said Cindy bought their dinner. Shanann concluded, praying it doesn't cancel flight. Addie's flight was canceled this morning. So this whole great job on Bella's hair, people have speculated that perhaps NK was the one who did her hair that day. Another thing we will also never know. Did Chris really do it and she cooperated like he said? Or did somebody else assist him who, knows how to do a girl's hair? Shanann called Watts and held a 9-minute conversation revealing how their talk went. Immediately after this call, she told Watts, sorry I bothered you. I just wanted to talk. Shanann told Addie she can call Chris about Jack. He's up. Shanann told Watts, thank you for taking good care of the kids this weekend so I can learn to work, and I appreciate it. Watts returned a missed call to Addie and held a 16-minute conversation. Moments later, he told Shanann, you're welcome. I just talked to Addie. And their follow-up messages, it is clear Watts offered Addie mechanical advice on a car. Shanann asked Watts, what kind of vegetables do you want with dinner tomorrow? Watts replied, green beans. Shanann said she would buy them tomorrow at Costco along with other items. Shanann told Watts that she was ready to come home. I'm ready for bed. Shanann sent a message to Addie explaining the accompanying text was what Shanann planned to tell Watts tomorrow night. The message read, can you please tell me something? Because just like you, I'm in my head. I try to fix things and make them better, and this is making me crazy. I know that you need me. I want to give you what you're asking for and respect your space. I need some time. This place that I'm in my head is not a good place. It is not healthy for me or Nico. I need you to help me help you. I need you to give just a little bit of what I did or didn't do so I'm not going crazy in my head to figure it out. I know I can't fix this by myself. That we are going to have to work together. Shanann made an unanswered call to Watts. Shanann told Watts tried calling you to give you an update, was starting to board, and they announced that our crew isn't here yet, and it's going to be a minimum of an hour before they are here. Shanann received a calendar alert, flight WN 6149 from Phoenix to Denver. Watts finally replied, holy crap, sorry, I passed out on the couch. That's going to be late. So then we see early in the morning before she gets home. Now she gets home at 1:48. Shanann's phone connected to the Wi-Fi provided by Southwest Airlines. Shanann told Cassie they had landed. This is the last outgoing communication found on Shanann's phone. Watts' phone logged the Vivint alert of Shanann's entry into the house. At that same moment, the Vivint video monitored capture Shanann as she walked up home and entered. Nicole Atkinson was captured backing out of the driveway. Between 1:48 hours and 4:23 hours, there is no movement detected on the main floor of the home. In a group text, Nicole Atkinson told Cassie, "We are home." Shanann's phone activity and otherwise dormant until 7:40 a.m. when Watts sent the device a staged message pretending not to know where she was. So that kind of gives a little out view. Yes, Michelle, we have that too. I've actually got it right here. So this shows you Cindy, who bought them dinner. This was at 6 something in the evening when she's telling Watts, that they're just having dinner and killing time while their flight was delayed. I think so too, Bubba. Like, Chris tries to make it seem like it happened at like 4 a.m, but the fact that her phone just stopped activity, I mean, she would have came in and checked on the girls and discussed whatever she needed to with Chris and maybe sent a text message in that group chat. Like when Nicole Atkinson said, we're home, I believe she would have said, I'm in bed finally, or I'm exhausted, or had a great weekend, or thanks everybody, or, things aren't going well here. He hasn't talked to me. There was just nothing. So her not having any phone activity as soon as she kind of connects to the home Wi-Fi, and hello, Allison, and everyone else who has joined, to me, that's red flag. I think that kind of, Kez chick, member for 12 months. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. I just think that the fact that her phone just kind of goes dead is pretty much a clear indication that something, right away happened. And the fact that we've heard that the flight was delayed and, that was out of their plans. They didn't know that her flight was going to be delayed. They just, I think that maybe that put on the emphasis of, we got to do this as soon as she gets home. Enough of this waiting around. Like, we're ready to do this. So she gets in, somehow is ambushed. Perhaps maybe she looked all over the house for Chris and they lured her to the basement, and that's where she was ambushed because that dog shows interest. So I don't know if it hit. I'd have to go over that again. But I know that they stated one dog showed interest near the bed in the basement. And then they had another dog come and confirm that, and the other dog didn't confirm the hit. But it seemed like there was interest in that basement. I still don't believe anybody died in the house. I believe that she was maybe sedated at that point and drugged and taken out maybe the back windows of that basement, because Chris emphasizes that they're garden windows, and he even says to Tammy, you can just walk in. They didn't have Vivint alerts on those windows, so it wasn't like if they opened or closed that would be traced in their log. But there's always been a lot of questions to her BAC levels in the autopsy, and the district attorney and the medical examiner comes out and says those were because, when you go through decomposition, it raises alcohol levels in your blood and all that. So there was a whole investigation done on whether or not she was drinking that night, and Addie is asked those questions as well. So let's see. Here is kind of pertaining to that. Now, I don't know, you guys let me know your thoughts, but I'm almost wondering, since we've kind of looked into some of the substances that were found in her blood, in her chest cavity. Remember when we went through that in a few live streams? And it had paint thinner in there, and it had other products that you could buy at like Home Depot that can cause sedation if you inhale them. This is all stuff that we found in her autopsy. This is all stuff that we've gone through. For those who don't know what I'm referring to, you'd have to go back and listen to our live stream, or even pull up her autopsy and check the area that talks about her chest cavities and the blood that was in there. So I'm wondering if some of this alcohol levels and the mystery behind them and the discussion behind them has to do with not only decomp, but also the sedation methods that they used to take her out of the house. Now, again, she did not fight back. She did not have anything broken in her neck, like her hyoid bone or the thyroid cartilage. Nothing in her neck was damaged like we see in other strangulation cases. Example, Gabby Petito. So to me, her not fighting back, that also is an example of perhaps she really was drugged. So the following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigations occurred. Subsequent to receiving and reviewing the autopsy reports for Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, I noted Shanann's BAC level reported to be 0.128. The report also indicated ethanol can be a product of decomposition or degradation of biological samples. To obtain more information regarding what Shanann may have consumed on the evening of 8/12/18, I contacted Addie Malone, and she also accompanied Shanann at the group dinner in Scottsdale, Arizona. Addie said that the group was at dinner for a couple hours due to the flight delays of Phoenix, and that Shanann ate approximately half a chicken Caesar salad and part of a crab dip and Brussels sprout appetizers. I asked Addie, based on her experience, how much alcohol either Shanann or Chris consumed on these business trips. Addie said their consumption was minimal and that she has never seen either one of them intoxicated. I asked Addie about what Shanann drank the night of 8/12/18, to which she replied Shanann only had water. Addie added they went out for meals several times while in Arizona, and Shanann drank only water at each sitting. Addie said Shanann wasn't a soda or tea drinker and consumed no alcohol during the Arizona or previous June 2018 San Diego trips because she was pregnant. Upon reviewing the Watts Vivint home security data I obtained by a legal warrant, I observed via doorbell camera recording Shanann walked from the street to her front door at 1:48 hours on 8/13/18. She was carrying her suitcase in one hand and her phone in the other hand and walked steadily the entire time. Based on my training and experience, Shanann did not appear to be intoxicated, which would have been apparent based on her minimal drinking history. So not only did Addie state, what she ate and drank that last meal of hers, but we've seen a lot of videos and photos of Shanann from these Thrive events. Not one that I've seen has Shanann appear to be drunk or Chris. So I fully believe that the alcohol levels has nothing to do with her drinking. Now, the reason why I have to go through this is because not only do people still say that she was, but I believe that possibly maybe this BAC levels have something to do with the chemicals that were found in her chest cavity. So, she did have several posts and drinks in the posts, but it was never, I mean, it was almost like she's just taking the pic of like the fancy drink just for the pic's sake. Like I've never seen a video of her drunk, never seen her even appear like with rosy cheeks, like how people look when they're drunk. I think that she would have like a coconut drink, like when they went to Punta Cana, you can see her drinking those, and a fancy drink at certain places. It was just because for the picture's sake and for like, oh, well, we're here, we might as well get a fancy drink. But I've never seen anything that like was raising eyebrows like, oh, wow, like she's a drinker. Never felt that. And I don't believe that the BAC levels have anything to do with her drinking that night. And in these photos, you can see, I mean, there's just water. She's only having water. But my whole thing, and hello, Roxanne, good to see you. My whole thing is, I wonder if the BAC has anything to do with the paint thinner and stuff like that that we'd seen in her chest cavity blood. I think Shanann was lured to the basement. Maybe the girls were there, drugged and taken out the back. I think so too. And hello, Shay Benet and everyone else who's joined. Enjoy some tacos. Johnny makes the best. Yeah, I just don't think so either. Maybe there's other things in regards to, you know, the decomp maybe raise the blood alcohol levels like they've explained, but I don't think that those levels had anything to do with her drinking before the flight or anything like that. But again, you guys let me know. Do you think that the BAC might have anything to do with those chemicals that we found in her system? Would that, you know, raise it? There was like N-butanol. I'm not sure like how that translates to BAC in the system, but all right. So now let's listen to what Addie had to say. So give me a second, pull it up, the audio. I'm going to turn it up and just put it right up to the speaker from my phone. And chat, you guys let me know if you can hear it.
Hello?
Hi, Addie. It's Officer James.
Hi.
So I was just calling to see if there's any information you can provide me that you think would be beneficial.
What I know, Shanann and I are really close friends, so she's confided in me a lot that things have been not so good between her and Chris.
Okay.
Last night, night before last, it's all blurring to me because we've been traveling and I'm in different time zones.
All right.
So forgive me, but it was, I think, Saturday evening, Sunday evening. She shared that she was and she thought he might.
I'm sorry, your phone's breaking up.
Okay, sorry about that. She expressed on Sunday night that she was concerned that he was having an affair.
Okay. Was this just to you that she told you that too?
Me and Nikki and Cindy was there also. And we all kind of thought, no, you know, there's no way that Chris would do that. You know, they seemed like just such a perfect couple. But I also knew over the past couple of weeks, she's been really just trying to save her marriage because he's been saying things like he didn't want the baby. She had canceled their their gender reveal party. They were, you know, getting a lot of friends together to reveal the gender of the baby, and she canceled that because he was just not there. He just was not wanting a baby. I mean, these are all just red flags for me right now.
She told you this personally?
I'm sorry?
She told you this personally?
Yes.
Okay, so I know that all you girls have been talking. So if you heard it from someone else, just kind of clue me into that so I don't write down in my report that she told you when in fact, does that make sense? That she told you when someone else made sense.
It's hearsay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of what she told me, we were in a group this weekend.
Okay.
We were all together in Arizona.
Right.
So we were in Cindy. It was Kathy, Cindy, Nikki, and I were all together.
Makes sense.
There's a lot of things that I told Sam. I'm trying to think who you've spoken to. So Sam and Christina, but
yeah, Sam, Christina, Cindy. Trying to think who else.
Yeah, she was getting to the point where she was telling, she hadn't really told anybody except for me and Nikki and Kathy prior to this weekend. And then this weekend she shared with Cindy. And Sam wasn't there. Cindy and I clued Sam in on what was going on.
When did she tell you that they started having struggles with their marriage?
This was about 2 weeks ago. If you have her phone, our entire conversation, I mean, we have a huge text string about it. If you have her phone, you can pretty much see everything that she told me. I mean, there were things that we talked about one-on-one too, but pretty much everything is in the messages.
So when you guys would communicate, was it usually through text messages or over the phone?
Text messages mostly, and over the phone, and then we saw each other this weekend in person.
Okay. Did she tell you anything in person that she didn't tell you over the text messages?
Let me think. Yeah, about him cheating. This was on Sunday night. My flight got canceled, so we ended up being there an extra night in Arizona. We went out to dinner, and as soon as she walked in to meet me, she just looked very sad. And she said, "All right, tell me what you think of this." I found, she said, he went to the baseball game with friends.
Was that the Rockies game?
The Rockies game, yeah.
So Chris told her he went to the Rockies?
Correct, with friends, a group of guys.
Okay.
And then he was out late, and she knew this because she was communicating with the babysitter that he had hired to go out while, she was away. So she was checking in with the babysitter, so she knew his timeline and when he got home and everything. So what he told her was that he went to eat. He went to get something to eat after, and he said he specifically told her that he had a beer and a salmon dinner. But the bill was $62. And she thought that was a little suspicious. So she asked us what we thought. Did we think that salmon dinner and a beer could have been $62, or was he with somebody?
And she saw that on their bank accounts?
I'm sorry?
She saw that on their bank statements?
No, he actually told her what he spent. And, I think they just communicate like that about money because she handles everything in the money. Because that's what I was like, why? They said, well, it's kind of weird that he would just tell you exactly what he bought. And she's like, no, he does that all the time. Like, I kind of thought he was maybe justifying what he had, trying to cover up something. And she said, no, it's not unusual for him to tell me because she just handles all the money, and they're, trying to watch their spending is how she explained it to Nikki and I. And I said, well, again, maybe he bought one of the guys in a beer, because yeah, that $62 seems a little high for salmon and a beer. So maybe he bought somebody something. You know, but she thought, she was suspicious that he was out with somebody.
Okay.
Up until then, she's been like, we've all been like, there's no way. She said, because if you look through the text messages, when she first started telling me this, I was like, when she first started telling me about him not wanting the baby and him being weird to her and something's wrong, she couldn't figure it out. He wouldn't tell her what was going on except for, it's nothing that you did, it's me. And I said, go through his phone. Like, go through his phone and see if he's talking to somebody. And she said, he's been deleting messages. She said he was deleting. She told me through a text that he was even deleting text messages with his dad because she had a falling out with his parents.
While she was in North Carolina?
Yes.
What was the falling out about?
The falling out was about, she was out there visiting for 4 weeks. Both of their families are in North Carolina. She went and took the 2 kids out there, and Chris stayed home in Colorado. There was an issue with her youngest daughter has a severe tree nut allergy, and Chris's mom had essentially exposed her to the tree nut allergy. Nothing happened, but she was very upset that she had put her in the position where, you know, she could have, it was pistachio ice cream, and the Chris's mother gave one of the cousins pistachio ice cream, and Cece was crying for it because she wanted it too. And they had a falling out over that because, you know, Shanann felt that she should have, you know, chosen another flavor of ice cream to bring home to the house to feed these kids.
So Shanann had a falling out with mom or dad?
Well, that was with mom. She loved Chris's dad. But I think the whole thing just escalated to both of the parents, both of Chris's parents just being upset with Shanann. And they didn't come to Cece's birthday party.
Which was in North Carolina?
Which was in North Carolina. Shanann threw a birthday party, and Chris's parents did not come because they were upset with Shanann. And they also unfriended them on Facebook, both of them, Chris and Shanann. And I think Chris was upset. And I don't know this for a fact. These are all things I was like, well, maybe he's upset with you because of the falling out with your parents. And she said that he did feel that she caused the problem between him and his dad is his hero.
Dad is Chris's hero?
Yes.
And Chris felt Shanann caused the problem?
I believe so, yes. That's what Shanann felt.
Shanann felt Chris thought?
Yes. Shanann felt that Chris felt that Shanann caused a problem between his dad. He specifically said his dad, but really, you know, both of his parents, but he's closer with his dad. I think he and his mom, you know, had some issues along the way too, but he was always close with his dad. And then Chris deleted his Facebook last Thursday.
Were you friends with him on Facebook?
Yes. And the way I know that he deleted his Facebook is because she texted me on Thursday, last Thursday, and said that she had suggested that they do a weekend together to help to, you know, center and work on things. And he said no at first, but then when they found out that the baby was a boy, he seemed to come around a little bit because he said she told me that he told her the only reason he wanted to get pregnant is because he really wanted a boy. When they ended up finding out it was a boy, he seemed to like he was opening up with her a little bit. Things were getting a little bit better. So they were going to go away on a weekend together. So I remember her texting me and saying, 1 minute he's saying we're going to go on the weekend away together. The next minute he's shutting down his Facebook. And
I want to pause it there because that was sort of the name of this stream was Chris was going back and forth on whether or not he wanted the child or not. Now, when she says that 1 minute he's, acting like he doesn't want it, then the next minute he's looking up stuff for their trip to Aspen. We see that firsthand in the discovery files that he really was looking at hotels and stuff while she was away. And it's kind of confusing because it's like if they were planning to attack her as soon as she got home, or let's say it was just Chris by himself, why is he toying around with the idea of looking at that Aspen hotel and that getaway that they had planned for the following weekend? It seems very much like there was some confliction with Chris. Obviously the evil side pulled through, and he didn't fall apart with the plan, and he went through with it. But we see with his phone activity in the discovery files that, like, yes, while Shanann was away, well, remember last stream we read her text message to him about it was great to hold you and thank you so much. So there was a connect for them before she went away. Now, was that something that Chris was just playing off? Yeah, probably. He knew what the plan was going to be at that point, I think. And there was also a text message Shanann sent a friend and said, Chris told me he said he's going to hell for what he said about the baby, which we don't get to see Chris's text message, or maybe that was just said in person. But there was something in him, unless Shanann lied and made that up, but I don't think so, that he thought he was going to go to hell for saying that he didn't want this next child. So it does see some evidence of, he was conflicted. And NK even says when they went out to dinner that weekend and they were discussing apartments and him moving out, it didn't seem like he was on board with it. And she wasn't sure if he was going to follow through with it. So there was something that he was kind of getting cold feet about. However, because he's spineless and weak, he followed through, and something happened, I think, as soon as she got home that night. Yeah, I know. I think it's safe to say Chris was already headed there. Hell, yeah. Well, he's definitely going to hell now. Right. But the strange thing is he's found God in prison, and he tells them in that prison interview that people come to him and ask him for advice on the Bible and stuff. Like, dude, you're not, unless you tell the truth, you're not going to heaven. I don't know. I hate to break that to you. All right, so let's continue it because, that was the part that I kind of wanted to emphasize. Like, there seemed to be something in Chris that was getting cold feet. Maybe he thought, okay, I want a boy. It's what I've always wanted. But then ultimately, like I said, he decided to do what he did.
I didn't ask this, I wish I would have, but I was kind of thinking, well, what's the correlation in that? But I think what she meant was, 1 minute he seems to be normal Chris, and then the next minute he's shutting down his Facebook, which is a strange thing to do, particularly in our business. Our social media is a huge part of what we do, and Chris is a part of that as well.
As far as her business goes?
Yeah. So it's a very strange thing to go off of. It might not seem that way, to some people, but just because of how relevant Facebook and social media is to our business. So when I said, well, why did he delete Facebook? She said he just said he needed a break from it, which is, it's not the strangest thing, but he's never done that before. I've been friends with them for about 3 years.
And you know her through her business? Is that how you guys met?
Yeah, we met. She's part of my team in our company, and we've become really close friends. We've been on multiple trips together with her and Chris. Hearing that he had been acting this way and that things were not good between them was a huge, huge shock to me 2 weeks ago when she shared that, because they just seemed like the perfect couple, and it seemed that he adored her. But the things that he was saying, like he didn't want the baby, and that they, you know, she said to her that they just don't communicate well anymore. And that it wasn't really anything specific that she did, because we were trying to figure out, because she's a really, really hard worker, and we thought maybe it was because she was giving more attention to our business and to the relationship, and we thought maybe that was it, and he said, no, it's not that. But he wouldn't say what it was. She couldn't get it out of him.
Chris wouldn't tell her what was wrong with the relationship?
As far as what she told me, that's right. She definitely seemed, she was very anxious to get home, because she really wanted to get home and see how he was doing, because before she left for Arizona was when he started to come around a little and seemed like maybe he was willing to work things out. And she told him that she didn't want to go to Arizona. She wanted to stay home and work things out with him. He said, no, just go, because she had the kids by herself for 6 weeks. So he said, go ahead and get away. Plus it was a business training too, but it was just something he was saying, go ahead and go and enjoy yourself in the training, and we'll talk when you get back. So she was really anxious to get back when all the bad weather was happening with the flights and everything. She was super nervous that she wasn't going to get back to be able to talk with him and work things out. And she was looking forward to this coming weekend when they were supposed to go away.
Do you know where they're going to go?
I don't think she ever specifically told me where they were going, and if she did, I just don't remember. She may have told one of the other girls.
Okay. Did she say what they're going to do with the kids?
I believe Nikki was going to watch the kids.
Okay. Is there anything?
I'm not 100% on that.
Okay. Is there anything else that stands out to you that you think I should know about?
That's the major stuff. Is there anything that you like? Do you guys have any idea what could have happened to her?
As of right now, we don't.
It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, I know what's really relevant. She never would have left the kids' car seat, the kids' Cece's medicine that she takes every day. She would never have gone off without it, or her phone. But the phone, maybe she needed to disconnect from the world. You could say that, but she would never, ever take those kids without everything that they needed. She's the best mom that I know. She's literally the most organized. If you were in her house, if you were in there, you know what I'm talking about. The most organized, planning everything. There's no way that she would not have taken the car seats, the medicine, and packed for them if she just was trying to get away.
Okay.
Because I think that's what the other. I don't know what the different possibilities are, but one would be that she just left, and I just can't see that being anything that she would do, because I'm sure you can tell how many people love her. But I don't think that that's I know that she wouldn't leave the children's things. I just know. There's no way. Best mom. Best freaking mom. And he's always been a great dad. Like, this is why this is just so, it's just so alarming. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. I just hope that we find her.
Well, we're doing everything we can to locate her.
Okay. Has she officially been, I know that there was like the talk of it needs to be 24 hours of being missing. Are we past that and actually filing a missing person? And
so we've been investigating it since we got the call. So, and we're going to continue to investigate it. So the 24 hours is kind of irrelevant because we are investigating it. We're just trying to track down. You have no idea where she may go to.
No, because the only place that the only person that she really confided in that lives there. I live in Maryland. The only person that's local that she confided in that I know of is Nikki. So and Nikki was the one that dropped her off from the airport. So if she was needing to get out, she wouldn't call anybody else at 2, 3, 4 in the morning other than Nikki, because Nikki's already up.
All right.
So and other than that, I mean, I don't know where she would go.
Do you know if she had a lot of? Do you know if she has a lot of friends outside of your guys' business here?
She does not. She has. The thing about it is, they've lived in Colorado for a while, but not a super long time to where they've created a lot of friends. So most of the people that she is friends with has been through our business.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how long they've lived in Colorado. They're definitely not like new to Colorado or anything, but I know when we were planning, she and I planned a big event there for our company, and I remember her saying, like, I just don't have a lot of people here. Like, her people are back in North Carolina, where she's, originally from. She knows people through the school. She's got a friend, Amanda, who used to be the director at the kids' school. She's friends. She does a lot of play dates with different moms, but it's not close friendship. It's just, play dates and that kind of thing. And then there's another friend, Karen. Karen actually was with us in Arizona too, but she's not one of our close friends. So we didn't really talk about we didn't talk about the Chris situation at all with Karen because she didn't know.
Okay. She lives in Colorado too.
I'm sorry, in Arizona with us. But yes, Karen lives in Colorado. But no close friendships. Christina is one of Shanann's best friends, but she lives in Hawaii.
Okay. If you hear from Shanann at all, try and figure out where she's at. Let her know that we're looking for her and for her to call us and that she's not in any trouble or anything. And if you do hear from her, I want you to call us as well. You can just call that number that you've been calling that we plan phone tag on, that dispatch number.
Yeah.
Of course, you can just call that because that number's answered 24/7.
Okay.
So just continue to call that number with any information.
Okay.
If anything else comes to mind, give us a call.
Something does come to mind. Chris told me that the neighbor has a security camera that is pointed like to their house.
Okay.
So that security camera, Chris had said that they, I don't know who he meant by they, I don't know if he meant you guys, or he and the neighbor, but he said that there was no sign of her coming or going per that video surveillance. So there could be, something that's on there that's definitely important and relevant if you don't have that already.
Okay. All right. If you can think of anything else, just give us a call, okay?
Thank you so much for being on top of this. If you need anything, give me a call.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, Addie, spell your last name for me.
Mm-hmm. It's Maloney.
All right. So Addie is the one in this photo that's kind of standing up a little bit and leaning towards Nicole Atkinson and Shanann. Those are the Brussels sprouts appetizer and the crab dip that she ate. I'm assuming this photo was taken before her chicken Caesar salad came out. Addie described that she ate half of that chicken Caesar salad and drank only water. And yes, that is the last meal that Shanann consumed. I think so as well, Tony. She said, I think NK started stalking Shanann in 2017. We have evidence of that in the discovery files. And the reason why I kind of wanted to hold on to that comment too is because, oddly enough, that is the same year that house explosion took place. So the house explosion happened in April 2017. The first search of the Watts family that we see from NK's device in that year was August 2017, and then again in September. So I just feel like it's not just coincidence that it's the same year as the house explosion. Of course, that's my opinion. Is it confirmation bias? Maybe, but I really think that this has a lot to do with the explosion personally and the oil leak that he was attending. And yes, Roxanne, I said hello to you. And if you guys didn't hear it, you can rewind. It's in the live stream recorded. Don't make me do a screen recording after this, but hello again. I love you. All right. So, yeah, there is proof. Exactly. There's proof that she Googled them. Absolutely. And that's alarming. And the district attorney had no explanation for it when asked. So there's a few live streams about my theory and the leak and all that. You'd have to go and listen to them. There's multiple videos. In fact, almost every live stream we do, I kind of reference it because that's just my main theory of why all this happened. There was something else I wanted to point out and talk about too before we switch up to the evidence locker video. All right, let me just switch the screen. Yes, and she's probably still lurking. Oh, see, Seth's got my back. He said, Amber, I saw you say hello. Promise, I did. Isn't that? So we had already started this in another live stream, so I don't want to play the whole thing again. But again, this is some sensitive material here and visuals here. So these are going to be what they're hanging up from what was found on Shanann, her clothing, and the sheet that she was wrapped in. The sheet, of course, is not the fitted sheet that was found at Survey in the field. That only had dirt on it. This sheet is the coroner's sheet, and it's what she was wrapped in to preserve the evidence before she was put into the body bag. So that's what we're going to be watching. And yeah, just keep with your comments and chat while we play this, and we will, I'll pull them up and pause it as we go. And then that'll kind of conclude tonight's deep dive. We're already at an hour mark. Get locked. Just
I was gonna say, let me
close it for now.
Yeah, I think that one should be it. Yeah, I just have to label that somehow, like with the hanger or something, just so it's specific. Whoever grabs it, that item goes with that bag. Which I'm gonna need some of your stuff.
receipt tab we can hang in, so if you want to label it with whatever's in there. This can all go in the trash, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Zoe, you can. And what's interesting about how you can see the outline of her kind of laying on that sheet is people have speculated that she was still in rigor mortis when they put her, like when they were trying to move her. Well, we don't have confirmation of that. And of course, that's just a theory. We also don't have a real time of death for them. So I think that that's interesting to kind of keep in mind. Like, was that imprint on that sheet, was she still in that position because she was stiff or not? Oh, you haven't, Margie? Oh, good to see you, by the way. All right.
Okay, now I should be all done. Thanks. Just saying you.
Hi, Angie, and everyone that joined. House Huddle, Florida Bass Fishing. Okay, so this bra, have to pause it and ask. For the women in chat, when you are second trimester pregnant, are you wearing a bra with underwire to bed? The reason why I asked that is because, like we discussed earlier in the chat, I know people were late. I honestly think this is worth you guys rewinding for and replaying it because we had a good discussion. But we believe, and I wonder if those who join late will think so too, that because her phone activity dropped off the second she walks through the door and connects to the home Wi-Fi, there was no response when Nicole Atkinson said in their friend group chat, "We've landed, we're home." She never, ever said, "Finally in bed," or "I'm exhausted," or anything in her phone. So for her not to pull up the internet, there was no activity on her phone after she connected to the home Wi-Fi. To me, like we've stated before numerous times, people have come up with this theory as well. She was lured to the basement. It happened instantly when she came through that house because there was no activity on her phone, which is unusual for someone like Shanann. And a lot of us kind of tinker on our phones when we're in bed and winding down. None of that took place for her. So she's wearing this underwire bra. When she's found, she's wearing the thong. People are already saying no, that they wouldn't be wearing this when they're in their second trimester to bed. It's hard because some people, might, but like House Huddle said, definitely not in a thong. Who's going to sleep in that lacy thong underwear? I don't know. To me, the thong is more of this doesn't make sense for her to be sleeping in that, like Chris claimed. It just doesn't make sense. And thank you so much, Seth, and congrats on your engagement. Yes, rest in peace. And, the family believes that justice has been served. They've also stated that they don't care if you talk about the case as long as you reference the discovery. They want the narrative of the district attorneys out there for whatever reason. Yeah, Era, I agree. The underwire bra does it for you. It is kind of confusing. Yeah, nothing she was found in seemed like sleepwear. I've even pointed out the fact that she had her nose ring in. Some people take out their nose ring when they go to bed. Some don't. So that's kind of one that's kind of like, I don't know. That's hit or miss. But there's just a lot of questions. I really don't think she ever made it to bed. I agree, Jay. 100% about the family.
Let's see what else is on here. So it's a shirt and underwear.
Now, what is strange is the shirt that he's about to hang up is not the shirt that she walked through the front door wearing.
You can probably point to you, like the shelf might also work for.
Yeah. Probably better. You've done this more than I have, I can tell. And then, can I still 3 more of those tags?
So did you see how muddy her bra was, specifically in like the armpit area? At first I was wondering like, why is the bra so muddy? But when she's face down in the dirt and it did rain, people have speculated that she was put in that hole after the night it rained. But I feel like this mud kind of goes against that theory. And it seems as though she was in there before the rain because the mud went down her t-shirt. The dirt kind of created mud on the bra through her sleeve of her t-shirt, I think, if that makes sense, guys. Let me just show you that again, because, people there is no real time of death. We're only going by a theory that the district attorney has given us, and he's changed his theory. So not very solid.
And then, can I still 3 more of those tags?
the thing too that, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, her Apple Watch clocked in as like she climbed stairs. So she wasn't found with her watch on, but it indicated that she did climb some stairs. So did she go upstairs, take her watch off, change her shirt? And she's wondering where the heck Chris is. So she goes down and looks for him. I don't know, because then it says in the discovery that there was no movement, although there's no Vivint alerts on the floor. It's only on the doors and stuff. So I don't know. But either way, something on her watch clocked in as she climbed some stairs. And then I think that was like the last thing it kind of indicated. Sherry, thank you so much for your super sticker. I really appreciate your support and you being here in all my live streams and participating. But so I don't know, this whole where did it happen and all that. And like Johnny was asking, like, do we think they had sex or they wanted to talk? Where exactly did this all happen? Who thinks Chris made it seem like he wanted to talk and have sex, but in the basement so kids would not hear them, and he killed her? I think he did. Once she got down there, he killed her possibly. I mean, yeah, there's definitely something that indicates she could have been lured down there. And maybe that's why that bed looked all messy down there. I don't know. I just don't think that they ever had sex, but I see what you mean. Like, did he trick her into thinking like, okay, let's go somewhere private, where they can't hear us? The thing too is their house was so big and the kids were heavy sleepers and they had rain machines on. So I don't know. It's hard. Can you tell up the stairs from down the stairs? You mean like on the Apple Watch? Like, would it tell if she went down the stairs? It would show steps. And thank you, Cries, for becoming a member. I love that little dog picture. And Michelle, you became a member while I was playing the Addie interview. I just didn't want to pause it. But thank you for joining as well. Again, all I ask you guys to do is hit that like button, and everything else is very appreciated, more than you guys know. I don't think so either. And honestly, it was weird too, because he never came up with that story until prison that they had sex that night. So another thing that he kind of changes up, again, I always say that there's like at least minimum 3 confessions. They're all different. And one of them was that, didn't the autopsy say they did have sex? No, there's nothing in the autopsy that indicates that his DNA was found down there, that his sperm or anything like that was found on. There is nothing linking Chris. Again, I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm just saying we don't have any DNA linking Chris to Shanann's body. So, yeah, it seems like a lot of people, of course, a lot of people don't think they had sex. Some people do. And thank you, Marshall Dove, for the kind compliments in chat. All right, guys, that concludes the evidence locker video. Now, we went through the first half of it in another live stream. Some people were saying they've never seen this video before. The first half of it is them kind of arriving to the room and taking the sheet out and bagging up some of the dirt. We also hear the officer call Detective Baumhover and say, what do you want me to do with this dirt, this and that? Baumhofer, we pointed out, even though he was the lead detective on this case at the time, we thought it was strange that he wasn't there kind of to instruct all of them and be there firsthand for this evidence. But it is what it is. Good night, Seth. Thanks for being here. I think that's it, guys. So that whole 2 interview in prison feels like he said nothing but lies. I 100% agree. I have like a whole series going through that interview. It's been a few years, so I'm sure my opinions and stuff have changed, but for the most part, he just lies through that whole thing. The reason why I believe that he's lying as well is because he says things that we check, the pictures of Survey, and it doesn't match what we see there. We also check her autopsy and things that he states, like her eyes filled with blood. That's not shown in the autopsy. In fact, her eyes were white. Just a lot of stuff he just lied about. I think there's a lot more we will never know about this case. And I think that's why people keep saying oh, keep digging at this, or I didn't know that. And it's like, I really appreciate you guys wanting to go through this with me. Again, there's a lot of other cases that we cover on this channel, but this one definitely has a special place for all of us because we just feel like there's more to it. I think they had you think they had sex because that was his last act of control and what he knew she wanted. I have a PhD in human behavior and I'm convinced he was trying to hurt her. Oh, yeah. I mean, I would just wish that they could link the proof of that. There's a lot of stuff. Somebody asked me earlier, I think it was Jay, if I believe everything in the autopsy. I think that the autopsies are incomplete. I mean, we know the children's are sealed for 50-something years. Shenanigans, I don't believe we have a full report of, but the things we do have, thank you, Jody. Things we do have is questionable for sure. Cries said, I think he had, okay. Repeating what I just read. Thank you so much for the super chat, and good night, Bubba, and everyone else. I appreciate you guys being here, and there's more digging to do. Yeah, 50-something years, we'll probably all be dead. No, maybe some of you youngsters can, write us, summon us after we pass and tell us what was revealed. I'm just kidding. But guys, I appreciate you guys. We'll talk very soon. Tomorrow night, I want to dig into the Sebastian Rogers case. Like I said, I've been following it. It seems very all over the place. So if you guys have followed it, please show up to my chat tomorrow night, same place, same time, and help me get an understanding of it because I want to be able to understand that case. There's a lot of things that were stated and then taken back. So I want to go through that. But no, I would never tell you to leave me alone if I was a ghost. But all right, guys, for everyone who joined the members, thank you so much for joining. For those who donated, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. And again, we'll talk tomorrow night if you want to join us. And again, we'll be here, of course, Margie, anytime. We'll be here next week, same place, same time, to dig into another aspect of this case because there's so many things that we can just keep pointing out. I'm just seeing everyone saying good night, so I just wanted to make sure you guys know that I see you. And yes, we'll talk very soon. Good night, guys.